All right, Matty, welcome back to the Ask Matty Show. Matty, how are you feeling?
I'm doing excellent. Ready to talk about some crypto.
I'm also ready to talk about some crypto, and I'm really excited for the show. It's going to be a great show. A lot of you guys are leaving great comments, great feedback coming from you guys, so that makes me super excited for all the forthcoming shows. But on today's show, we're going to be talking a lot about Casper. You guys love Casper, so I want to cater to that. I don't want to be like, talking about nonsense here. I want to bring the questions you guys have. That a lot of them are Casper related, but we're going to talk about some other things here. Some of you guys are questioning the legitimacy of some TA tools Matty likes to use. So I want to bring those to Matty's attention here so we can answer those, honestly, and give you guys some insight to those, because I know a lot of you guys like question those Fibonacci tools that Matty uses, and I want Matty to answer that in this forum here. Again, we're getting a lot of good feedback from you guys, so we're going to continue to put out these shows. But before we get into the show here, become a Crypto Charge member. We are from CryptoCharge.com. We do content on the daily over there, but we also have tools for your crypto needs. So click the link in the pinned comment below. It will take you over there. That's where you can join our community. We also have a Discord. Matty, what could someone get if they become a Crypto Charge member? What would they be receiving?
Yeah, so right off the bat, 30 days free, so you guys can try it out. We do 5 live updates a week, and it's not just myself. I'm on 3 to 4 days a week, and I have my other business partners to give you guys other looks into macroeconomics, on-chain data, the stock market, real estate, just basically, the whole package. So you guys aren't just learning about crypto. We do TA, we do morning updates, so you get 3 or 4 minutes in the morning, so you guys are fully educated on, everything from the stock market down to, our top 5 or 6 crypto picks, the Discord community, learning center. I mean, we got so much value in there for you guys. So come on, 30 days free trial. Check it out.
Lovely. Yeah, you'll definitely become a nerd if you join the Crypto Charge community and join other nerds that love crypto and love, making money. Also, get some swag, shop.cryptocharge.com, get a hat, t-shirt. And finally, team, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. It is very important that you do that. But on today's show, we're getting to your comments, your hot takes, your questions, all going to be covered in this show. Matty, are you ready?
Let's get after it.
David Fox 6764 says, "Hey guys, do you really think Casper can 100x from today's price?"
So let's call out today's price just so we're all on the same page here. It is 3.8 cents, give or take. So my upper bound of expectations for this cycle is somewhere between like $3.50 and $4. That's kind of like everything goes well. That's my final sell. That would be about a 100x from current market price. Now I will definitely be unloading a lot of my position at that $1 to $2 mark, right? I'm going to be realizing a lot of those profits. I'm going to accumulate in between 2.5 cents and 4 cents, right? So like my cost basis is killer. And if you guys are in that same position, I would not start to realize profits in that $1 to $2 region, right? The exponential case for Casper, if we were to look at beyond, for a blow off top beyond my 4.236, would put us around an $8 Casper. And I think that is achievable over multiple cycles. I just want to keep my expectations in check, and I'll be very, very happy with 1 to 4. So it could be a 100x, could be a little less than 100x. Your total return is probably going to be under 100x if you start unloading some at 1, some at 2, some at 4, right? But I mean, again, guys, right? We're talking about stock market performance, excellent year, 20 to 25% for the whole year. Let's not get greedy here.
User UT4, whatever. 2 questions. Are you worried about Casper Labs not pushing Casper to big exchanges? And second question, does low trading volume concern you at all? Thanks. Great content.
Well, first of all, listings take time. Even look at HBAR, right? The HBAR community is huge. The computation on the HBAR network is exponential. It's been around a super long time, right? And you still have major exchanges like Kraken that have not listed HBAR yet, right? So I wouldn't say that it takes away from the legitimacy. It takes time to get there, right? And you guys also have to consider, like, I wouldn't say that Coinbase and Binance right now are rushing to list a whole bunch of new assets, right? Like, they're in litigation with the SEC right now. Now, I think that we end up on the other side of that in a positive light. But I think they're probably going to be a little bit more particular and slow about that process of bringing on new assets. Now, in relation to the low trading volume, I'm curious what you mean by that directly, because this is going to be exchange by exchange when it comes to volume, right? If you go to something like BitTrue, for example, you're going to have low liquidity and low volume there. You go to another exchange like MEXC or BitGet, that liquidity is really, really high and good, right? You can get pretty good size orders filled. as close to market prices as possible, right? Now, again, if you go to Uphold, you're going to have wider spreads. You're going to go to Bittr, you're going to have wider spreads. If you go to an exchange that has a bit deeper liquidity pools, like BitGet or MEXC, you're going to get those better prices. So I wouldn't say that trading volume is low. I would say across the board, trading volume is low for most of crypto right now, right? Because we're not in that parabolic, activity. But once we do, I think that we'll see trading volume ramp up across all exchanges.
Zubin Warden 7888 says, I would like to hear your thoughts on HBAR. If you could please make a video. Thanks. Well, here's the video, Zubin.
Right. I swear with that HBAR reference, I didn't know this question was coming next. So HBAR, I love it as an entire ecosystem. And again, I don't believe in the killers of this or that. I think that there's room for a lot of competition, a lot room for different partners on different ecosystems. And HBAR is not a blockchain. It's a hash graph, right? It's a Hedera Hashgraph is the the token or the token term that we use for it. So it's you can get a lot more throughput with it. It's a non-linear model, so we don't have to wait for each block to be validated, right? They kind of more like gossip to other nodes, and that's how we get that validation done. So you get better throughput with that. Also NFTs on the HBAR network, right? So you have that natively available. That's going to bring costs down. So overall, I'm bullish on HBAR. I have a bag of HBAR. Is it my biggest bag? No. Have I been DCing aggressively into it? No, because I see other opportunities of newer emerging assets, and I know that I've talked about Casper until I'm blue in the face, but I just think it hasn't even had the opportunity where HBAR had some of that opportunity in this last run, right? But we could do a little bit of TA here on HBAR for you guys and kind of show you where we're at right now. So right now we're seeing a lot of behavior that we're seeing across other altcoins. Bitcoin Cash did this recently. API 3 fired up through some of its MAs in this fashion. Most recently we saw like 80% pump over an API 3 over this last weekend. But if we were to zoom out a little bit and be a little bit more macro, where are we located on the HBAR chart? We're pretty much in the previous accumulation zone, right? So we had 2019 here, illiquidity wick. By the way, this is what I'm looking for on Casper, guys. Look at this illiquidity wick here in 2019. Opens at 37 cents, crashes multiple new lows. So from that all-time high, not to get too off track here, but from that all-time high, new crash, minus 97%, right? I'm not surprised that the average person's like, I'm not buying any HBAR, screw you. Like, this is an asset, that's a big scam here over here on the Binance chart, right? Crashes, comes back, builds a new ceiling here around 4.4 cents, breaks into new highs, fills that wick completely, basically double tops in that wick, and then comes back down into this area. So when I talk about rebalancing of charts, which I've talked about so many times, this is a rebalanced chart. We have now properly not only tested once, but double bottomed on top of that previous all-time high, on top of that previous accumulation resistance zone. So this is a healthy and rebalanced chart. So if you want to say, I want to DCA into HBAR, I'd say that this is a really good price to do so. Now, again, we are trying to work our way through some of these moving averages here. You can see that the 50-day and the 100-day, which are in green for 50 and 100 for purple, are starting to curl up, and we might actually get a crossing here. So if we get the 50-day crossing up over the 100-day, that would be a golden cross, might get a pop higher. You guys can also see that the orange line here, which is the 200-day, has also been broken over, seeing some short-term signs of strength. So that last MA we had to worry ourselves with is the 50-week in blue up here, and that's around 7 cents. So we got about another penny of headroom here on Hedera, at least in the short term. If we were to go swing high to swing low using our Fibonacci tool from this very big swing high to that swing low that came in, right? We actually just tapped that 382 in here. So built a little bit of a ceiling on the 236, tapped the 382 in here. We could work our way up towards at least, 7 to 8 cents in here before we start to see some rejection just based on, a retracement in here. So those are my short-term expectations. Long-term, I think this is a good spot to DCA.
Eyes Wide Open says, you should check out Cass.
All right.
So TA, Matty,
we could do a little more TA here on Cass again, team. I have about maybe 20 or 30 assets on my radar, and it's already a lot to keep up with with them as is. So this is Kaspa, not Casper, no hard R there. And we have a chart here that has basically just been going up, up, up. I want to say that we actually did this in our Discord for one of our community members that was interested in this asset. Let me just double check that MEXC has the best price action. Let's go ahead and remove the T and see if we can get a crypto chart here. Cool. Okay, they're pretty much similar, one for one. So this reminds me of the Eagle chart a lot. I don't know if you guys have tracked Eagle. It was a really big winner in the last run, and it just had this really, really clean uptrend until that uptrend broke, and then it was just straight down from there, right? And that's kind of where we've been at here. If we were to go ahead and grab our trend line tool, right, it's been a pretty aggressive line up. We've actually flipped this most recently kind of into resistance, but this is more of like a channel now, kind of been working its way up in a channel. But if we go ahead and grab our Fibonacci tool, we're going to look at two different ranges here because I see two very clear pieces of early price action that we can evaluate. We don't want to just look at one. So let's go ahead and first evaluate the oldest piece of price action here. So we'll go swing high, swing low. And wow, look at that. First of all, you reach a 4.236 back here in November. And I want you guys to see why these tools are so valid, right? I've never charted this asset. Maybe I charted this 2 years ago. Can't even remember. We're grabbing an old piece of price action. Shows us the 4.236 is a ceiling of resistance. Where do we find support? The 1.618, which is the golden ratio. We go ahead and rip higher. Where do we top out again? The 21 extension. This is a Fibonacci sequence team. This is found all throughout nature. This is not specific to the charts. In fact, there's really not any real reason why this should work on the charts. Yet it does. Do we live in a simulation? I couldn't tell you, but this tells me that we do. Looking here now, we've broken back over that 21. Looks like we want to back test in here, right? We had resistance here in April. We had resistance here in July. Broke over that recently. We want to see 3.9 cents turned into support here. So looking further, of course, we can look towards, 10 cents, 16, 25 cents, 42, and 68. I personally can't, in good conscience, buy structures like this, knowing that there are a lot of assets that are still in the depths of despair that are high quality, that haven't really, just been in this grinding of an uptrend for the last, year and some change. But overall, it's a very healthy looking structure, right? What would I like to see back tested again? Probably right under a penny here. Are we going to get it? Probably not. I think that the next value buy would be somewhere between 1.5 and 2.5 cents. It's kind of that pocket where you'd probably be able to pick up some. That would probably be a proportional move. However, the one thing I will say is I've seen other charts like Phantom that remained elevated for a long time, like Matty that remained elevated like this for a long time, and then had a disproportional correction during a big move with Bitcoin, right? So like Bitcoin moves down 5 or 6%, which is a big move for Bitcoin, and the rest of the altcoin market, let's say, moves down 12 to 15%. But then sometimes you see some of these outliers that have held themselves up really well that have a disproportional move like minus 20, minus 30, minus 40%, right? Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here with Kaspa, but it very well could happen if we were to see a very large correction in the overall market. We might see it recollect some of that liquidity around 1 penny.
Gosh, that was a really good chart because I think that chart is about to illustrate almost like answer this next question here, and the question that I prefaced at the beginning of the show here. Ruo Tube says Fibonacci is rolling on his grave. On his grave, really? Fibonacci is rolling on his grave because of so many idiots using his mathematics to predict crypto prices. Matty, what is your response to this?
There's a reason that Wall Street analysts get paid $250 to $350K a year to stare at these charts all day, right? And it's not because, there's just a bunch of magical fairy dust out there that if they plug in the right tools that it's all going to come to fruition. It's still a game of probabilities, right? We're going to say, previously, looking at whatever we're looking at, it doesn't just have to be Fibonacci's, right? If we're looking at flagging structures where we look for measure move, head and shoulder structures, right? They're not always going to be validated. There are moments of invalidation, and that's okay, right? And that's why we use risk management when we're doing trading, especially. We look to have a risk tolerance. Hey, if price, deviates from it in this proportion, take me out of the trade for a calculated loss because I know I'm not going to win every single trade. If these work through and through 100% of the time, we'd all be rich, right? But that's not the case. It's a game of probabilities. You take your L's and you're going to take your W's. But when you look at growth in the stock market, and this is not just crypto, right? You can see this in the Dow Jones. You can see this on oil charts. You can see this on metal charts. Over long periods of time when you find price action, these things do end up being valid. I'm going to show you actually an example on the Dow Jones right now because this isn't just crypto. We're not just crypto bros. Again, I come from the foreign exchange markets. That's where I learned all of this stuff was in the foreign exchange markets.
I'm a crypto bro.
Right, crypto bro. And I promise you, they are incredibly valid over there. So I'm actually going to show you from a cycle standpoint. We're going to look at that last capitulative move we had here. You guys all have this probably burned into your brains, the 2020 sell-off, right? Fat old V bottom in here before we recovered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Fibonacci tool. I'm going to go from that last cycle high to that last cycle low, right? I think we would all agree this is a reasonable swing high and swing low. And look at that. We reach a 1.618 to perfection. It calls out the top of the freaking bull market back here in November. We double tap it again here in January of 2022. And I'm sure that you don't know a lot about mathematics because Fibonacci would not be rolling in his grave right now because 618 is the golden ratio. It is phi. It is the perfect number within nature when we look at sequences. So believe it, don't believe it, use it, don't use it. I'm going to make a shit ton of money this next cycle using these tools. You use whatever tools you find best.
Long question here, but I'll read it swiftly. 227 Matantan says, Just found this channel last week and love the value that you guys give on every episode. I personally went back to June, thank you. I'm a new investor, first bear market to accumulate, working as mail carrier. Yeah, you go into your personal life. Here's the meat. My portfolio consists of 5 coins: XRP, Casper, HBAR, Flow, and API 3. Flow is the only one the majority of people do not talk about. But for me, they have partnerships with 3 sports I follow religiously: NBA, NFL, UFC. My question, do you gentlemen have any good, bad, or indifferent thoughts on Flow's prospects in the bull market? Possible TA, and then he left a whole nother paragraph. But I think the majority of what he wanted to say was right here. And, you gave some positive feedback, so I had to bring this. And Flow, Matty, have we talked about Flow before?
I don't think we've talked about Flow before, and like I've said, there's always just a barrage of coins out there, and we've talked about partnerships before, so I definitely don't want to dismiss any partnerships that you've identified. It's good that you're identifying those, but sports teams specifically probably have the most number of partnerships, and it hasn't necessarily been the best indicator of a strength of a project, right? I definitely would want you to dig a little bit deeper and see, what crypto specific applications are being built on this network, right? What do they intend to do with these sports partnerships, right? Are they going to be minting NFTs on this network to, give them as tickets, as collectibles, right? Like, what is the intention of that partnership? So make sure you dig on that. Make sure you're not just say, hey, they're partnering with the Lakers and I love the Lakers, so I'm going to buy up, Flow coin. What specifically are they doing with the Lakers that's going to put computational demand on the network, right? So again, I couldn't tell you if it's a good investment or not, but those are some of the things I would dig on. But let's go ahead and do a little bit of TA on Flow here. So I'm going to go ahead up to with the ticker bar up here. We're going to go Flow, and we're going to go ahead and look and see if we can get a crypto chart. Boom. So if you guys see spot crypto here, the reason I go to this chart is it generally has the longest amount of price history. So make sure you're selecting that. Oof, man, this has really been a really tough one here. This reminds me a lot of the Moon River chart. It reminds me a lot of the ICP chart. We've basically come and we found some support here at the low here when we initially launched on this illiquidity wick. However, I have seen assets like Blocktopia take out that low before, like AVAX Trader Joe take out those lows before. So it's not necessarily an indicator of like, hey, the lower portion of the wick has been filled, we're good to go. And you've got a long way to climb in here. The one thing that's concerning is it's really just been a very healthy downtrend. When you have an unhealthy downtrend, meaning you just have capitulative moves and no back test of the previously broken support, that leaves a lot of room for price to want to move up and catch those prices again in the future. But you guys can see here that we had support that was built in here, breakdown, double taps it as a retest in here. You get multiple breakdowns in here and it just keeps getting back tested, right? You get the support built in here, back tested as support. The only area of interest that I see that maybe has a little bit of imbalance is right around $3.25, $3.30. So we could see a move towards there. We're getting crushed by a lot of these moving averages as is, right? You guys can see that we're unable to break over a lot of these. Now, of course, assets like Bitcoin Cash and API 3 have broken over these MAs, just broken over that cluster. But again, I can't make the fundamental case right now for Flow. You'd have to do that research yourself to determine if there's just price suppression, what's going on with this price suppression. Has there been additional supply put on the market that's creating this incredible sell pressure right now? All-time high to current market price, right? We go all-time high current market price, 98%. You've probably avoided most of the depreciation if you just started accumulating recently. But again, I would double check your fundamentals on this. Make sure this is something that you really care about, want to continue to DCA in, because there's a lot of other assets out there right now that aren't as new or are new and have more traction on their roadmap that might give you a little bit more confidence long term.
I love that, Matty. And I do have to say here, I would check out if I, am a fan of Matthew Breenan, and, Matthew has a great portfolio, and I've emulated, I would almost say to a T, because the prospects, or his prospects are just so phenomenal. I've even my portfolio was at probably a 6 or 7 coin, and I downgraded that to a 4 or 5 coin because I was holding XLM, and then I was just like, why not just, swap with XRP? And that goes back to, diversifying, but, focusing, having meaningful assets that you're focusing on. But if you don't want to look at Matty's portfolio, and you just want to or if you don't have a clue of what to really do, I would recommend the tool at cryptocharge.com. I know this is another plug here, but if you have no idea what cryptos to buy, Matty, we have this thing where you can just kind of input, the dollar cost amount, not the dollar cost amount, how much money you have you want to invest into crypto, and it kind of gives you like an ETF style portfolio. Would you recommend that for someone that's entered crypto? And if you already like the cryptos that we're talking about on here, just go check out Matty's portfolio on the website. That'll give you like a clear breakdown percentage wise of what he's holding, which was a good indicator for me because I'm like buying XRP, Casper. But for someone that's like brand new, would you say that tool is valid for them, Matty?
Yeah, so it's a helpful tool. It's still in beta right now. It's a Coinbase only tool. This is going to be changed in the future to support multiple exchanges. The reason we started with the beta as Coinbase only is because there's a lot of average people out there that are afraid to venture outside of Coinbase. So we designed it so that people who only want a Coinbase-based portfolio have options in there. You also don't have to take everything in their face value. You can, say, hey, that's a good suggestion. I'm going to change this up a little bit, add or subtract assets as needed. But it does take that dollar amount you want to invest, suggest an upfront amount to invest as like a initial buy, and then shows you how to DCA and how much you should be DCAing of each. Also has a link back to that Coinbase. The other tool that we have on our website that people really enjoy, and I would say they almost enjoy it a little bit more than the Crypto Charge Up program, is our coin library. So you can go ahead in there and you can actually search and scan through everything that we update in there. You can search by return on investment. You can search by what exchange it's located on. And you can filter through it that way. So I'd definitely recommend at least signing up for our 30-day free trial, checking out all the assets we have on there and seeing if anything piques your interest. We also have obviously little summaries of what each asset are.
Words of wisdom, Matty. Team, join our community, the broader Crypto Charge community on cryptocharge.com, but also in the Discord, because we do have conversations in there and you'll get updates and all those great things, and just be a part of the crypto community, because I couldn't imagine being into something and not being able to talk about it with other people. Because I know, Matty, like crypto is still in its early adoption stages. I think you said that earlier on today's show. We filmed another show before this, but you were saying that, and it's really important to have people around that you can talk about that with, because you also learn new things. We're learning new things every year, but things come out, as this asset class is growing, as this technology is growing, new things come out, and you kind of want to stay in tune with it. So that's what we have there. Not to say that we're looking at every single brand new altcoin that's being brought today, but being brought every single week. But there are new like websites you could be checking out to enhance, like cryptocharge.com. I could just say that. But team, that's all. I'm done rambling. I've said enough. Cryptocharge.com is where we are at. And if not, just subscribe here, because we post every single day, every single week. You'll get a new Ask Matty show. And I think this is very valuable. Matty, any last things to leave the team with here?
Just stay focused, guys. I know it can be, tough, and it can be lonely out there, especially, when we're just not seeing that price appreciation. I know that your friends and family are going to be battering you guys for crypto advice in that next bull run.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants to catch that last tail end. They're probably catching the last 25% of the bull run. So don't be that guy. Get prepared. Stay with that DCA. Get those assets staked up if they offer native staking, and let's make some damn money, y'all.
Love it. I love it. Words of wisdom, Matty. That's all we have for today, team. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.